Hi. So it is a cold March morning in Michigan, but it is a special day. I have a friend of mine who has been living with me for a few months, who's very special to me. And today is a very special day for her. She is making a cross-country move to be with family in another part of the country, in an effort to kind of find what she wants in her life and, follow her dreams, as she tells me. And I think it's the most beautiful thing. But I want to share a little bit about this story without being too gratuitous. I hope it's more about wanting to celebrate her victory. And how sometimes she doesn't feel seen. And it's important to me that somebody sees her story at least a little bit. So I met her last fall. I'm a rideshare driver. In my part-time. And I had met her through my driving. And as you all know, I'm sure by now, if you follow or if you don't, I do a ton of outreach work and peer work for folks who are experiencing housing instability and homelessness, because I experience housing instability and have experienced homelessness, and I think it's important to build resources. I happen to have a lot of knowledge because I've worked in human services and social work for over 20 years. But I also had a long period of time in there where I was disabled and unable to work. And when I came back, I wanted to find a new way to help people. And so that's kind of what I'm doing now. And through that work, I just kind of keep my eyes open for when there's an opportunity. And somebody is asking for resources, and so that's kind of what happened. I met my friend. She was having a hard time, and she was asking me about ways that she could get a little more help. And so, through my other role of being this kind of community engaged person who really, just through voluntary work, right, wanted to provide her with some information. That's how we got to know each other. And as things progressed over the next month or two, I guess it was a couple of months, the situation that she was living in just kind of continued to deteriorate, with no judgment on anyone involved. Just, it wasn't a great situation to begin with. It was kind of an overcrowded situation, and this friend of mine has some disabilities that require some support, somebody who has knowledge and experience with services to help her be able to get what she needs and live as fully as she wants to. So she wasn't getting any of that. So through my social worker hat, right, my 20 years of a human service provider role, I jumped in with both feet and said, we're gonna get you the help we need, and started connecting her with some resources. But the housing situation continued to escalate to where it wasn't really habitable for her anymore. The situation became untenable for her. So she had to leave, and she had nowhere to go. And at first we were talking about, bringing her to the daytime warming center and the overnight warming shelter, because that's what we have available in our community. And so I said, okay, well, you're coming home with me tonight, and we'll check into all of that tomorrow. And I'll tell you why that never happened. It's a little bit of more than one thing, okay? So, it didn't really happen because it became really obvious to me the more time that I spent with her that that environment is not at all appropriate for her and her disabling conditions. She's not able to get what she needs in that environment, and in fact it would probably leave her vulnerable to some things we really don't want to see happen. So that became pretty obvious, right? Like, it's not gonna work. So we just said, we being my child and I that lives with me, we just sort of looked at our situation and we talked about it and agreed together that we were just gonna let her stay with us. We have a 2-bedroom apartment, and I just gave up my room for a while because people need privacy, and the rest of the house is mine. So, like, it's fine. It was fine. It was no big deal. And I know people think that's weird, but I don't. The whole house is mine. Like, I don't need a room to myself because I have the rest of the house. They need a room to themselves where they can get away from me. So anyway, she started staying with us, and gosh, really changed my whole life. Like, what a wonderful person, and how much I've learned from her, and how much she's enriched my life, and just the friendship that we've developed that I know will last forever. Anyway, I tried connecting her with some services in our community, and it wasn't successful. It just, our system is overloaded, and the things that she needed to happen did not happen. So she just sort of stayed with me, and here we are, it's March, and we get to the end of February, and the family that she's connected to, they were reaching out to her, but they just don't have what she's looking for, right? She knew that there were people in her life who cared about her, and that she could get, she could maybe go stay with some other family, but she really felt like it wasn't quite going to be the right situation for her, and she didn't know what she wanted. And I didn't want her to feel like she had to rush, because we weren't in a rush. It didn't cost me a dime. Okay, it probably cost me a few dimes, but nothing that wasn't manageable. Like, taking another person in and giving her a space was something I could do that wasn't really terribly disruptive, because of the way we did it, because I didn't put her on a couch in my living room, right? Like, in a common space where she really could never settle in. We gave her some space, and I went about my life, because I'm a very active and engaged person. I'm gone all the time. I'm busy all the time. And so it gave her sort of just a place to be where she could work through her network of people, her family and her extended family. And she came up with an alternative arrangement for herself. No social workers involved. I believe that providing that stable environment for her allowed that to happen naturally. Now, don't get me wrong, she was doing things and I was doing things to help move her forward, but she did this. She found her own housing resolution. She, even with her disabilities, which do affect some of her functioning, right? Like, she has some challenges that make it difficult for her to, that are developmental disabilities, right? That may be a little more challenging for her to negotiate. We think they need us, they need us. But really, she just needed time, space, support, and all the things that we did do for her. I mean, I don't want to minimize that. Like I work in social work, so I helped her with a lot of things, connecting with things, paperwork she needed to do, making sure benefits were updated, looking into resources, but not that much of it, right? Because I have a life, a job, my family, a whole bunch of other commitments. So I just want to celebrate her today and how amazing it is when somebody can get, I'm going to cry, I swear. Because to witness this is powerful, right? Just to see that smile on her face now, because she's going home. Like, it's not the home we would have put her in, right? Like, we would have put her in an apartment somewhere, and she still wants that. But not here. Not away from where she wants to be and the support system she needs to thrive. It's incredible to see someone so beautiful being able to find her way. And we've got her connected to the state where she's moving to. We've already closed out all of her benefits here and helped do the paperwork. It will get started in the place she's going to. We can help people. We can help people thoughtfully. We can do it proactively, and we can do it respectfully. We just have to figure out how to think outside the box and how to stop doing what we think people need and start asking people what they actually need. Because she really didn't need that much from me. And I'm just one person who did it on my own. Can you imagine how much more effective we could be if we could figure out how to do that? If we could just figure out how to do that, whatever that is, that being finding some stability where someone can breathe for a while they figure out what comes next. Like 6 months, right? Like 6 months. People need like 6 months minimum to stabilize, to get through what just happened, and to process it, and to build some relationships, and to think about their future, and to evaluate their options. Help me figure out how to do that, please. Thank you.